All right, welcome to project number 8, where we're going to be putting together a lamp holder in box number 1 controlled by a light switch in box 2 and relay 100% of power to our duplex outlet in box number 3. A pretty good challenge for students getting to learn how to do any kind of electrical wiring, because in a bit of a roundabout way of having to get power all the way over to your outlet, as well as relaying power to box 2 just to go all the way back over to box 1 in order to control a lamp holder. A good challenge. And again, we're going to be utilizing a little jump wire in box 2 in order to get power over to our light switch, but a very good project at that. So, how do we get there? Again, in a way, you're starting from the beginning, okay? Now, we'll have our, I think the way to, best way of starting is, let's first start by gain control of that lamp holder by wiring that light switch first. That'd probably be the easiest approach. So we're gonna first get power over to our light switch in box number 2. So I'm gonna first start by taking my 2 black wires here in box number 1. Let's hook them up in order to be able to relay our power over to box number 2. Of course, always be sure to have your pigtails facing clockwise in order for your pigtails to tighten along with the terminal. In this case, while we're doing our wiring, we're going to be utilizing these 12-3 wires in order for us to relay that power from box 2 back over to box number 1. I have a little jump wire here because, of course, a common mistake that I've had students make is they'll have their power. So we're using this black wire in order to relay power over to our box 2 light switch, and students will take the black wire, wire it directly into the light switch without a jump, and then relay their power through the next black wire over to the outlet in box 3, and then take the second hot terminal off of their outlet, and then relay it back with the red wire all the way over to their lamp holder in box number 1. Legal, yes. However, the issue that you're going to run into is that, again, in other projects, yes, while you control the light by being able to turn it on and off by the light switch, not only are you turning that lamp holder on and off, but also you're turning off your duplex outlet by turning off your light switch. So you're controlling the lamp holder, and the outlet does not have 100% power. It would only be half hot. So to avoid having a outlet that could be able to turn on and off, you have to have a separate source of power, where we have this jump in box number 2. As you can see, if I were to give you a closer look here, we have 3 hot wires in box number 2. The incoming black wire that comes from box number 1 power, the little red wire that's our jump over to our light switch, and then a third hot wire, the second black wire, that goes from box number 2 over to box number 3. So we're going to take this red wire that will lead from box number 2 back over to box number 1. I'm going to tighten up this pigtail a little bit so that way we don't have it come loose. Yeah, you don't want to have any kind of copper. It's going to be exposed. You want to have your copper wire trapped underneath that terminal so that way it does not happen to pop off if ever you have to do any kind of wiggling around with the appliance. So we have that red wire that relays back over to box number 1. We're going to tie in our lamp holder. Okay, and I'm not going to tie in my neutrals just yet. I'm going to save that for last. So we're going to go back over to box number 1 when we had box number 2, excuse me, that where we had that that third hot wire, the second black wire that goes from box number 2 over to box number 3. We will not be utilizing these red wires that run between boxes 2 and 3. We're just going to be using this black wire here. And then tie in our duplex outlet. So our hot wiring is complete at that point. So I'm going to work my way back by tying in my neutral wires. So we just have the one neutral wire in box number 3 tying into the 1 terminal of our outlet. Box number 2, we will not be tying in any neutral wires to a terminal. Instead, we're going to connect the 2 neutral wires by a wire nut. Okay, there are my neutrals in box number 2. Then of course, connecting my neutrals in with our lamp holder in box number 1. Now, what I could do, I've had students do this before, and the first thing that comes to mind when they're having to connect the neutrals is they'll do kind of like what they did with box number 2, with tying the 2 neutrals up by a wire nut, and then having a third neutral wire as a jump that goes over to the lamp holder. If this were a situation where I have a lamp holder that has only one single neutral terminal, that's totally that's possible. It's legal. We could be able to do that. But in this case here, I have 2 neutral terminals. A cleaner approach, a safer approach, I'm just going to take my 2 pigtails here and hook it up to either one of these 2 neutrals in our lamp holder. You would not lose control of your lamp from the light switch by having two neutral wires hooked up to your lamp holder. You would still be able to turn your lamp on and off. The only purpose of these two neutral wires that are hooked up to your lamp holder is only to relay power back over to from your outlet back to your power source. It is not to keep that light from always being on. Now at this point, all I have left to connect are just my grounds. Let's start with the first one that's right in front of me. That would be our ground to our light switch. I'm gonna redo this pigtail. I'm not really digging how it's looking. Much better. You don't want to have, my only issue with that last pigtail was just the fact that it was a little too wide. You don't want to have pigtails that are going to be wide, other than the fact that they would just simply come undone from that grounding terminal. And there we have it. Project number 8 completed, where we have our lamp holder in box number 1 controlled by a light switch, a single pole, single throw in box number 2, and a third appliance, a duplex outlet with 100% power in box number 3. A good challenge for, especially for beginning, for those learning how to wire any electrical appliances for the first time. Great project for students in mechanics. Good challenge for them. So that would conclude project number 8.